This video is sponsored by Aura. The Sigma 16mm F1.4 has long been a favorite lens of mine. In fact, I did a video stating that if I could only keep one APS-C lens, this would be the one. It's just very versatile. It's a great lens and a very good value for the money. So, you couldn't believe how surprised I was when Sony announced that they were releasing a competitor to the Sigma 16 F1.4. This is the Sony 15mm F1.4G, and the APS-C lens lineup just got a whole lot more interesting. Okay, the first thing to talk about is how small and light this new lens is. It is 218 grams compared to the Sigma's 404 grams, so basically half the weight. And you can see here that it's about an inch shorter overall. In Sony's words, it is 46% lighter and 25% shorter than the competition. Sony is marketing this new lens as a professional wide-angle prime with G-class image quality, great bokeh, and fast dual linear motor focusing. They even go as far as to say that the images from the lens are distortion free. When I was on the phone call with Sony regarding this lens, I was shocked with how they presented this thing and how they talked about the competitors. They were very confident in what they were producing. So let's take a quick tour around this lens. This thing is fully featured. Even though it is compact and light, Sony didn't skimp on anything here. It's made out of plastic and glass, but the fit and finish is excellent. Around the rear, there is a metal mount with electronic connections. There is a rubber gasket around the mount because this lens is dust and moisture resistant. On the top, you get the lens specs embossed, not like the simple printing that you get with the 11mm. There is a pronounced G logo, a focus hold button, an autofocus manual focus switch, and an on-off toggle for the aperture ring. This lens has an aperture control ring that is very well done and clicky, going from f1.4 to f16 and then one more larger click over into auto. Even with the click off, the result is a very smooth rotation with a bit of resistance, which I like. In front of that ring is the focus ring, which is very smooth, feels great in the hand, and is completely electronic. This ring is linear, so if you're doing manual focus pulls, you can do repeatable focus changes with ease. Around the front is a compact front lens element. Lens specs are listed here: 55mm filter thread, and the minimum focus is 0.2 meters or 0.66 feet. Inside there are 3 aspherical elements and a 7-blade diaphragm. It's noticeably lighter and smaller than the Sigma, but there's one big problem. And I wouldn't say this is a problem as much as I would say it is a crime, and that is the price of this lens, which we'll get to here in a moment. But before that, there is another crime that I think you guys should know about, and that is the fastest growing crime in America. Numbers are surging over the years, and it's getting pretty dang bad. I'm talking about identity theft, and there is a new victim every 14 seconds. Yet most people who have their identity stolen are shocked when it happens. Imagine trying to log into your email account one day and you see that the password has been changed hours ago, and then you start getting notifications of activity from your bank, credit cards, and crypto accounts, and then you start feeling panicked, fearful, anxious, and in shock, maybe angered, and definitely frustrated. That's why I'm excited to be partnering with Aura, who is sponsoring this video. Aura is identity theft protection, fraud monitoring, a VPN, password management, and antivirus software all combined into one easy-to-use app. Aura monitors the dark web for your emails, passwords, and social security numbers and sends alerts fast, right to your phone and email. Every second counts when it comes to fraud, so when you connect your bank and credit card accounts, you get notified of any changes up to 4 times faster than competitors. Aura's VPN allows you to stay anonymous online by keeping your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. And their antivirus software will block malware and viruses before they infect your devices. I'll tell you guys, once I signed up, Aura found my information on the dark web 10 times. If you guys sign up for a free trial, please comment down below with how many times your personal information was found on the dark web? I'm curious. So protect yourself and your family from America's fastest growing crime. You can try Aura free for 2 weeks. Go to aura.com/Arthur or just click down in the description below. And special thank you to Aura for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the Sony 15mm F1.4. All right, so let's take a look at some side-by-side samples from this new Sony and the Sigma 16, which we've all grown to love over the years. And this new Sony did not come to play around. Immediately wide open, we are getting shots that are just as sharp as the Sigma. Dare I say the Sony looks maybe sharper. Skin tones are excellent, as are colors through the frame. Slightly less warm than the Sigma though. Bokeh is nice looking and smooth as well. Next shot. Okay, more of the same. A bit more contrast with the Sony. Super sharp, great colors. This is a close one. Here's the next one, and let's get extra close. These are portraits, not what the lenses are designed for, but still a good test of sharpness with eye autofocus. Both lenses here are exceptional, although I have to give the bokeh nod slightly to the Sigma. The Sony's bokeh is a little busier, the Sigma's is smoother. This is a byproduct of the 16mm focal length versus 15mm, and the fact that the Sigma has 9 rounded aperture blades compared to the Sony's 7, which I don't believe are rounded. Here is a busy shot at f1.4. The lines on the Sony are straighter, sharpness is the same, even to the corners. Both lenses are surprisingly sharp and both have chromatic aberration. The Sigma struggles with that a little bit more. At f8, from the same vantage point, there is no difference. Center and corners are sharp and chromatic aberration is not much of an issue with either lens. Here it is on a brick wall. The Sony is flat with straight lines, no distortion, no vignetting. The Sigma has barrel distortion, albeit it's not as bad as it could be. Here's a shot at f2 on both lenses. The sharpness is spot on brilliant with both lenses. The Sigma has the bokeh advantage again, but the Sony has straighter lines. Just take a look at that railing post. Here is a building at f8, and this is the only shot where I noticed the Sigma was a little bit sharper in the corners. Surprisingly, in every other comparison shot, they were equally sharp with a slight edge to the Sony. Next, chromatic aberration performance is looking good here, wide open, and the flare on the Sony is well controlled. Last shot, this is the bokeh difference. Again, from the same vantage point, this Sigma has bigger bokeh balls because of the extra 1mm, and the balls themselves are a tiny bit more round, which is preferable. I also did a focus breathing test, and the Sony did a really good job with basically no focus breathing. I tried the same test with the Sigma, and it's just as good in my opinion. So what Sony has done here is they've created a lens that absolutely keeps up with the performance of the Sigma, and in some cases offers about 5% better performance, at least in sharpness. And it's not only that though, because this new lens is definitely more fully featured than the Sigma. The Sigma lens, after all, is very simple. There are no buttons or knobs or anything crazy on it. It's just a simple focus ring, and that's just about it. Again, the Sony has a focus hold button, autofocus switch, aperture ring that can be clicky or declicked, as well as a linear manual focus ring. And that is not even the important bit, which is autofocus performance. Dual linear motors is definitely better than the stepper motor in the Sigma, and that applies in terms of speed, accuracy, and noise level. The autofocus system on the Sony lens is perfect. It does everything that you want when you want it to. That being said, I've never complained about the autofocus performance of the Sigma 16mm. Sure, the 30mm, yes, before the firmware update, it was pretty bad, but this one, even when it was just released, has always had really good autofocus performance in my opinion. So what all of this comes down to is one word, and that word is refinement. And Sony actually said this in the briefing that I attended, and I was offended when they said this because they called out their competitors as being unrefined, and I knew they were referring to the Sigma 16mm, and I thought to myself, what? Sigma 16mm is not unrefined. It has never been unrefined. It's a great lens. What are they talking about? But then after spending the last couple of weeks with this new lens from Sony and using it and comparing it side by side to the Sigma, I see what they mean. It's not in the sense that the Sigma is unrefined necessarily, it's just that this new Sony is more refined. What they have done is they have taken an already excellent, already amazing lens, and they have made it smaller, lighter, better at focusing, with more buttons and switches and features, and maybe a touch sharper as well. They have refined the Sigma 16mm. Now all of this comes at a cost, and understandably some of you may be outraged by this, but there is a law of diminishing returns, and there's also the law that further refinement is exponentially more expensive. And this applies to a lot of industries. I mean, it's the reason that the S-Class may be 20% more refined than an E-Class, but cost 80% more with some options ticked. It's the reason people spend 4 or 5 times as much for a Grand Seiko over a regular Seiko. So the Sigma right now you can buy on Amazon for a nice $357. And at that price, it's an exceptional value and something that I would highly recommend. Now this Sony is going to come in at roughly double that. I don't have the final pricing, but it's going to be between $700 and $800, which is a lot of money when you consider this is an ultra wide angle lens that's a prime for APS-C. So it's an expensive lens. Don't get me wrong, it is excellent, exceptional, amazing, but also expensive for what it is. It's not a G Master. They don't make those for APS-C yet, but I love it. I really do. And I recommend it as a great option. Maybe I was dreaming that a lens like this would come in at $500 or even $600, but I think at that price it would have been an easy, solid recommendation. And maybe this Sony is not so much overpriced as this Sigma is underpriced for the performance that you're getting. Bang for buck, you really cannot go wrong with this thing. All that being said, I am still buying this new lens from Sony. I've actually been using it over the last couple of weeks for these talking head clips in my videos, and it's amazingly sharp, very good at autofocus. It's a little bit too sharp, I would say. You could see all of my pores, which is not a good thing, but I am loving it so far. So it's a dream performer lens. Okay, so that is it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe for more. Check out the link down in the description below to protect your identity with Aura. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.